Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel GCSE November 2023 Paper 2 Mathematics Foundation Tier paper. Let's jump straight into it. Question 1. Write down two factors of 18. So your factors are just numbers that are multiplied by something else to get to 18. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 and 18 itself. I'm just going to write down 2 and 9 as 2 times 9 is 18. Question 2. Write 0.9 as a fraction. That would just be 9 out of 10. Question 3. Change 7 meters to centimeters. So we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 7 meters is just going to be 7 times 100 centimeters, which is just 700 centimeters. Question number 4. Write down a square number that is between 10 and 50. So your square numbers are a number that is something squared. So 1 is 1 squared, 4 is 2 squared, 9 is 3 squared, 16 is 4 squared, 25 is 5 squared. I'm just going to go with 16 as that's between 10 and 50. Question 5. Work out 50% of 240. That would be the same as 240 divided by 2, which is just 120. Question number 6. Lydia works for 4 hours. She is paid £50. How much is Lydia paid per hour? That is simply going to be £50 divided by 4, which you can do on your calculator if you like. It's £12.50. Question number 7. Here is a 3D shape. Write down the name of this 3D shape. This is a cone. And 7 part B. In the space below, draw a sketch of a triangular prism. So this is just going to be where you have a triangle, 3 dimensions, but with the base being rectangular. So a bit like this. It's me trying to do it on an iPad without a ruler. There you go, something like that. It's only a sketch, so it doesn't need to be perfectly accurate. Question number 8. Curtis needs to buy some items for his sports club. Here are the prices. Curtis needs to buy 5 footballs, 6 hockey sticks, 2 cricket bats, 4 tennis balls, and he has £200 to spend. Show that he can buy all the items he needs. So 5 footballs is going to be 5 times £9.50. I'll do that on my calculator. 5 times 9.5 just gives you 47.5. 6 hockey sticks. Now they're saying it's £30 for 2, so that would imply if you wanted 6, what I'll just do is 30 for 2 multiplied by 3 is going to be £90 for 6. 2 cricket bats. They are £23 each, so 2 times £23, which is just £46. And 4 tennis balls. It's £5 for 4, so we can just say that's £5. I'll just scroll down. Therefore, the total cost is going to be 47.5 plus 90 plus 46 plus 5, and I'll just do that on my calculator. And I get £188.50, and £188.50 is less than £200. Question number 9. Harris is buying a shirt and tie. He has a choice of 3 colours of shirt and a choice of 3 colours of tie. Harris is going to choose 1 shirt and 1 tie. List all the possible combinations Harris can choose. So we're going to say WP, WS, WC, BP, BS, BC, and GP, GS, and GC, as each shirt could go with each tie. Question number 10. There are 24 red counters and 40 blue counters in a bag. Write down the ratio of the number of red counters to the number of blue counters in your bag. Give your ratio in the simplest form. So we have 24 red compared to 40 blue. What we're going to do is divide both of these by 8, and we have 3 to 5 is the simplest ratio, as 3 and 5 are prime and cannot be divided any further. Question number 11. Rima is going to roll a fair 6-sided dice. Choose the word that best describes the probability that the dice will land on the number 3. I'm going to say that is unlikely. It's 1 in 6. Write it as well as circling it. Unlikely. Choose the word that best describes the probability that the dice will land on an odd number. That will be 50-50 or evens. Evens. Question number 12. A car travels at an average speed of 37 miles per hour for 3 hours. Work out the distance that the car travels in the 3 hours. Well, if they're doing 37 miles per hour for 3 hours, it will simply be 37 multiplied by 3. Do that on my calculator. 37 times 3 is 111 miles. Question number 13. Milo is trying to find the area of this rectangle. He writes, the area is 400 centimeters squared because 5 times 4 times 5 times 4 equals 400. Explain what is wrong with Milo's method. What he should have done is just multiplied the 5 and the 4. So what he's done is sort of more double than what he needed to do. It's much more than double what he needed to do. So I'm going to say he should have just multiplied 5 and 4 once. He has done it twice. Area equals height times length. And on to part B. Anya works out the area of a shape. Her answer is 86 centimeters. Explain why her answer cannot be fully correct. She has not got the right units. She should have units of centimeters squared. Centimeters is wrong on its own. And we'll move on. Question 14. 3 kilograms of flour costs £4 and 5 pence. 5 kilograms of flour and 6 kilograms of sugar cost £11.85. Work out the cost of 2 kilograms of flour and 5 kilograms of sugar. So we know that 3 kilograms of flour equals 4.05. Therefore, 1 flour is going to be 4.05 divided by 3, which I'll do on my calculator. 4.05 divided by 3, 1.35. Now what I'm going to do is put that into the second equation. So we're going to have 5 flour plus 6 sugar equals 11.85. But we know flour is 135, so 5 lots of 135 plus 6 sugar equals 11.85. So 5 times 1.35 is 6.75. So 6.75 plus 6 sugar equals 11.85. Therefore, 6 sugar equals 11.85 minus 6.75. Again, I'll do that on my calculator. I get 5.1. Therefore, sugar equals 5.1 over 6, which is just 0.85. And the question wants, what is the cost of 2 flour and 5 sugar? So, therefore, 2F plus 5S equals 2 lots of 1.35 plus 5 lots of 0.85, which is just 2 times 1.35 is 2.7, and 5 times 0.85 is 4.25, and that just gives us £6 and 95 pence. Question 15. Martha and Nabil share £120. Martha gets 72% of the money, She spends 30% of the money she gets. How much money does she have left? So we need to do 72% of 120, which is just 120 times 0.72. Put that into my calculator. And we get 86.4. Then she spends 30% of that, so 86.4 times 30% is 25.92. Therefore, she has 86.4 minus 25.92 left over, and that is just £60.48. Question number 16. 160 people were asked to choose their favourite type of book. They each chose from romance or adventure or horror or thriller. 85 of these people were children, the rest were adults. 19 of the 33 people who chose romance were children, 34 of the 76 who chose adventure were adults, 7 adults chose thriller. The number of children who chose thriller was the same number as the adults that chose horror. Work out the total number of people who chose horror. You must show how you get to your answer. Okay, so we have 160 people, 85 children, so 160 total, 85 children, which means we must have 75 adults. So 19 of the people who chose romance were children, so we're going to say 19 romance, which means 14 adults chose romance. 34 of the 76 people who chose adventure were adults, so 34 adventure, leaving 42 adventure for children. 7 adults chose thriller, so 7 thriller. The number of children who chose thriller was the same as the number of adults that chose horror, so we don't know that number yet. And we also don't know how many children chose horror, so we can work out the number of adults that chose horror by doing 75 minus 14 minus 34 minus 7, as that will just give us the number of adults that are left. So 75 minus 14 minus 34 minus 7 is just 20. So 20 chose horror. We know 20 children chose thriller because it's the same number of that chose horror for adults. Now we can work out how many chose horror for children by doing 85 minus 19 minus 42 minus 20, as it would be which children are left over. 85 minus 19 minus 42 minus 20 is just 4. So 4 children chose horror. Therefore, total horror equals 20 plus 4, which is just 24. And on to question 17. Here are the heights in centimetres of 16 sunflowers. Show this information in a stem and leaf diagram. So what I'm going to do is 16, 17, 18, and 19, as it's going to be between 160 and 190. We're going to do a quick key and say 16-0 equals 160. So we have 160 up there, so we're going to put that on and we're going to tick him off. Only 161? No, 162 is there. And tick him off. 63, no, 64, no, 65, 66, 67. There's a 68 up there. And that's all the 60s. 172 is the first one here, and there is 2 of them. So tick those off. 173 is there. 174, no. 5, no. 6, no. 7 there is. And 8 there is. So we can tick that off and that off. 180 is there. Twice. So we'll tick those off. No 181, no 182, but there is a 183 and a 184. Tick those off. No 185, but there is a 186 and a 188, so we'll tick those. And that just leaves us 191 and 197. And we are done. Question number 18. Work out 9.8 plus 6.8 divided by 4.2 times 2.1. Give your answer as a decimal. Write down all the figures on your calculator display. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down exactly what I'm going to type into my calculator. So I'm going to do open bracket 9.8 plus 6.8 close bracket divided by 4.2 times 2.1 close bracket. I'm going to do that all in one go on my calculator. I'm just doing that so you can see exactly what I'm typing in without having my calculator being visible to you. And I get 1.882086, etc. It wants all the figures on my calculator display, and that's what I'm going to give it. So 882086167800. 4. Part B, write your answer to part A correct to 2 decimal places, so just 1.88. And on to question 19. The diagram shows a quadrilateral ABDE and an equilateral triangle BCD. CB is parallel to DE. Angle AED is 132. Work out the size of the angle marked X. You must give a reason for each stage of your working. So we've got an equilateral triangle over here, which means each of these angles is 60 degrees. So I will just write equilateral triangle. So BCD, CDB, and DBC, all 60 degrees. Now, since we know that BC and ED are parallel, that means that this angle here, if I just draw a little straight line, is going to be the same as this angle here. So, basically means this angle here is 60. So what I can say is I know that this bit here is 120. So I'm going to say angles on straight line mean external angle at BCD equals 120. And we will say as parallel lines, this means angle, let's get this right, CDE also equals 120. So I'm going to just write that on here, 120, like that. So we can then say, therefore, BDE equals 60 degrees, as we already know that CDB equals 60 degrees. Just scroll down slightly. And then we're going to say angles in quadrilateral equal 360 degrees. Therefore, BDE plus 132 degrees plus 90 degrees, as we know this is a 90-degree angle just here, plus X equals 360 degrees. Therefore, 60 plus 132 plus 90 plus X equals 360. Therefore, X equals, on my calculator, I'm just going to do 360 minus 90 minus 132 minus 60, and we get 78 degrees. And we're done. On to question 20. Complete the table of values for y equals x squared minus x minus 2. So when x is minus 1, we're going to get 1 here, minus 1, so plus 1, minus 2. So that's going to give us 0. When x is 0, that's going to be 0 minus 0 minus 2. So it's going to be minus 2. When x is 2, we're going to get 4 minus 2 minus 2, which is going to give us 0. And when x is 3, we're going to have 9 minus 3 minus 2, which just gives you 4. Part B. On the grid, draw the graph, should have seen that coming, of y equals x squared minus x minus 2 for the values of x from minus 2 to 3. So we're going to have minus 2, 4, which is going to be here, minus 1, 0, which is going to be here, 0 minus 2, which is here, 1 minus 2, which is here, 2, 0, which is here, and 3, 4, which is here. And we need to make sure that the lowest point is correctly drawn. And we need to make sure it's a smooth line, only between these 2 points, so don't go any further, just like this. Smooth line like that. It's a nice curve. There we go. And we're done. Question 21. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. To me, this looks like a reflection through here, because it's taking the point 1, 2 to the point minus 2, 1. It's taking the point 1, 5 to the point minus 5, 1. So I'm going to say this is a reflection through y equals minus x line. And that's all we need to say for that one. 2 marks. Question 22. A. Expand and simplify 3 lots of 2y minus 5 plus 7 lots of y plus 2. That's just going to be 6y minus 15 plus 7y plus 14. 6y and 7y together is 13y minus 15 plus 14 is minus 1. And that's as simple as we can make that. Part B, factorise fully 6x squared plus 15x. So I can see that 3 and x go into 6x squared and 15x. So we're going to take that outside. We'll get 2x plus 5. And nothing goes into 2 or 5, so we can't bring anything else outside. So that is the most factorised we can get. And part C, make g the subject of the formula f equals 3g plus 11. So we'll take 11 onto the other side first, and we'll say that's f minus 11 equals 3g. Divide through both sides by g. By 3, sorry. F minus 11 over 3 equals g. And now we've got g on its own. And we'll just change it to say g equals f minus 11 over 3. Question number 23. Karen is organising a party for a charity. She spends £100 on food, 120 on a hall, 80 on a DJ. She sells 54 tickets. Each ticket costs £7.50. Work out the percentage profit Karen makes for the charity. So 54 times £7.50 is her income. And I'll do that on my calculator. That's 54 times 7.5, £405. Costs equal 100 plus 120 plus 80, which just comes out at 300. Therefore, her profit is 405 minus 300, which just equals 105. So we want the percentage profit, which is just going to be 105 divided by the total cost, which was 300, multiplied by 100, which is the same as saying 105 divided by 3, as you could cancel out the 100 and the 300. I'll just do that on my calculator. 105 divided by 3 is just 35%. Question 24. Andrew invests £4,500 in a savings account for 2 years. The account pays compound interest at a rate of 3.4% per year. Calculate how much Andrew has in the savings account at the end of the 2 years. So that is simply just going to be 4,500 times 1.034 and times by 1.034 again. So that's going to be 4,500 times 1.034 is 4653. And then multiply that again to get 4811202. and it's currency, so we will just round it to 20 pence. Question number 25. Solve 5x minus 14 equals 52 minus x. So we're going to add the x to the other side first, and we're going to say 6x minus 14 equals 52. Add the 14 to both sides, and you're going to get 6x equals 66. Divide through by 6, and you get x equals 11. Question number 26. Chris, Debbie, and Errol share some money in the ratio 3:4:2. Debbie gets £120. Chris then gives some of his share to Debbie and some of his share to Errol. The money that Chris, Debbie, and Errol each have is now in the ratio 2:5:3. How much money did Chris give to Errol? Okay, so C to D to E, it was 3:4:2, and Debbie got 120. So if she got 120, then what we've done there is we've multiplied the 4 by 30. So we're going to do the same for these other two to work out how much money everybody originally had. So it would have been 90, 60, 120 was the original amount each of them had. Chris then gives some of his share to Debbie and some of his share to Errol. The amount that Chris, Debbie, and Errol each now have is in the ratio 2:5:3. So what I'm going to do is add up how much money was going around. So the total money is going to be £270. So we now need to split £270 in the ratio 2:5:3. So totally here there are 10 parts, which means Debbie, the middle one, has half of the money. Errol has 3 out of 10 of the money, and Chris has 2 out of 10. So using that, I'm going to say the £270 now split in a ratio, not in a ratio, so 2 out of 10 times 270 is going to be 54. Debbie has going to have half of the 270, so 135, and Errol's going to have what's left, which is 3 divided by 10 times 270, which is 81. And the question's asking, how much money did Chris give to Errol? So Errol has gone from 60 to £81. Therefore, Chris gave £21 to Errol. Question number 27. The bearing of port B from port A is 147 degrees. Work out the bearing of port A from port B. So we've gone from A to B, and we're saying the bearing was 147 degrees. And now we want to go from B to A. So let's continue this line here and draw a line like that. What we need to do is work out what this angle is here, x, and then the bearing is going to be 360 minus x, and that x is simply going to be the same as this angle here, and that's going to be 180 minus 147 equals x. 180 minus 147 on my calculator is just 33. Therefore, bearing is going to be 360 minus 33, which is just 327 degrees. Question number 28. The diagram shows an empty tank in the shape of a cylinder. The cylinder has radius 15 and height 43. Water flows into the tank at a rate of 0.47 litres per minute. Calculate the number of minutes it will take to completely fill the tank. Give your answer correct to the nearest minute. So we need to find the volume of the container first. And that's just going to be pi r squared to find the area of the base multiplied by height, which we know is 43. So we're going to say that is pi times 15 squared, as we know the circle has radius 15, and 43 is the height. And I will type that into my calculator. So pi times 15 squared times 43 is going to be 30394.91. So that's the volume of the tank. And then we know that it flows into the tank at a rate of 0.47 litres per minute. So 0.47 litres per minute. One thing to notice is that this volume is in centimetres cubed and this is in litres, so we need to convert our volume into litres. So volume to go to litres is just going to be 339491 divided by 1,000. And that will just be 30.39 now. And then 0.47 litres per minute. We need to do 30.39 divided by 0.47. 30.39 divided by 0.47 is just 64.66 minutes, and give your answer correct to the nearest minute. 65 minutes is the correct answer. Question number 29. ABC is a right-angled triangle. Calculate the length of AB. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. This is the hypotenuse, this is the adjacent, this is the opposite. So we want the opposite. We have the adjacent and we have the angle. So all we need to do here is use tan. So it's going to be tan 49 equals opposite over adjacent. So we'll just call it AB over 28. Therefore, AB equals 28 tan 49. And we can put that straight in our calculator. So 28 times tan 49 gives us 32.2. And it wants 3 significant figures, so 32.2 is correct. And we're on to the final question of the paper, question 30. Solve the simultaneous equations 3x plus y equals minus 4.5 and 4x plus 3y equals minus 3.5. First thing I'm going to do is multiply this first equation by 3. So we get 9x plus 3y equals minus 13.5. Just going to call these 1 and 2, and then say this is 3 times equation 1. Then I'm going to call this 3. So what I'm going to do is 3 minus 2, so that I get 5x. The y's cancel out, and I'm going to do minus 13.5 minus 3.5, so add 3.5. So that equals minus 10. So x equals minus 2 by dividing both sides by 5. Put into equation 1. So 3 lots of minus 2 plus y equals minus 4.5. So minus 6 plus y equals minus 4.5. Add 6 to both sides. We get y equals 1.5. So x is minus 2 and y is 1.5. And that is the final question. As always, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and leave any comments or questions down below, and I will catch you next time.